What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. What is it? Sunday night? Is it Sunday night already? What happened? Oh, yikes. Anyway, it's a Sunday night Radio Baloney Live. I am your host, Richie Baloney. Looks like we got, hey, Spambot. Jesse, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat already. All right, Spambot saying he was wearing his Make Orwell Fiction Again hoodie when he was out shopping earlier today. Had over a dozen people tell me they love my sweater. Yes, there's a lot of people that don't want to live in 1984, in Orwell's 1984. Don't want it. Thank God. Not enough people, though, unfortunately. Not enough. Let's see. Jesse's advising me here that I have to pronounce Trugina. That's our special name for Justin Trudeau on this channel. Have to pronounce that like Trump pronounces China. It feels so good rolling off the tongue. I'll give it a try. Trugina. Trugina. That's what everybody says. Justin has a Trugina. Everybody is saying that. It's very gross, I hear. I hear it's disgusting. People are saying that. It's a crime against nature. It works. Trugina. Jesse, you're right. In fact, you got to remind me to keep doing that. All right. So what do we got on the menu? Let's get to the menu here. What's on the menu for tonight? Well, you got one of these defund the police Marxist dingbats. I'm assuming Marxist. Defund the police Marxist dingbat activist complains the cops didn't do SHIT after she's robbed of all she owns in San Francisco. I actually went and checked out this person's X account, and I just decided I'm not even going to show it. These people are all so gross, I was just like, I'm just not going to pollute the internet with it. At least not my little part of the internet, but we'll talk about this. So, I mean, it's very funny. They never learn. They never learn anything. And you wouldn't expect them to. Let's see. So, yeah, okay. U.S. launches dozens of precision airstrikes in Syria. So why? Why exactly? Because they're bombing ISIS, but everybody there is ISIS. They're like Al Qaeda. Everybody is. They were Al Qaeda. Then they were ISIS. Now they're this new thing. We'll go through it. I pulled up a bunch of stuff. I don't understand even the point of it at this point. You're just picking favorites amongst jihadists. I don't get it personally. But I brought up a bunch of stuff regarding this and thought we would take a little look. Here's Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, and almost certain to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. He's asked about what Canada should do to help restore stability in Syria, and I like his answer. And we're going to take a look at that. And by the way, his attitude is that that's a mess that we should stay out of. So just spoiler alert, I guess. Let's see. Trudeau is less popular than Trump is right now in Canada, according to our latest Abacus data poll from David Coletto. This is surprising considering the avalanche of anti-Trump propaganda that Canadians are fed by our own corporate media. And a lot of Canadians watch CNN and MSNBC too. So this is actually surprising considering just how much propaganda Canadians get. Just outright propaganda. Just poison from the media. I mean, he's not popular in Canada. He should be if there was any fairness. If the corporate media in Canada wasn't just absolutely 100% obsessive about attacking Trump, because Canadians are very interested in the US news, and that's not surprising considering like we're right next to it. We're right next to the United States, and it's the United States is the most important country in the world. But in any case, we'll take a look at that. I've got some polling numbers here. Uh yeah, so Trudeau's new gun legislation. We've got somebody here who's very much in favor of it, and we'll talk about that a little bit and why the whole thing is just ridiculous and purely politics and pandering to people like this. And I've got a bunch of stats to back up what I'm saying. We're going to talk a little bit about, because the jury is getting back to it in the Daniel Penny case in New York tomorrow. So I thought we would add a little bit of context to the whole thing here. We'll do that. What have we got? We've got some Trump derangement syndrome. So we have to kind of keep that going. You know, it's not been that long since the election, so we'll keep the Trump derangement train going because you guys seem to like it. I like it too. And when I clip these things, they seem to get lots of views. At least some of them do. Let's see. What do we got here? So we're going to actually start out with this here, with Biden talking about airstrikes in Syria. We've got a bunch of random stuff. Loonies. Here's a crazy, crazy Canadian far leftist. Let's see. All kinds of just goofy stuff. We got some memes. We got just all kinds of craziness here that we will go through, and all shall be revealed. And of course, for our palate cleanser, when we need it, we have our cooking shows. Again, this one isn't strictly a cooking show, but it's, drinks, food kind of go together. So you might need to know how to mix whatever that drink is she's doing there. I don't know. But in any case, it's a great cooking show. If you like bruschetta, if you don't know how to make bruschetta, she can show you how. Another great cooking show, a sandwich making show. Fantastic. I think you'll enjoy it. And then, of course, we have the classic, the original muse of the channel, the Noodle Lady, who does a fine job. Fine. And it's hypnotic. It really is hypnotic. I find it soothing. I don't know why. I guess I just really like noodles. All right. So, one moment. All right. So we should welcome Jesse to the chat. Good to see you. And do we welcome Rumbum? We'll welcome him in again. We got Rosie in the chat. Good to see you. All right, everybody's starting to show up. Let's get through the chat a little bit before we get started with all of the many important stories. Let's see. Now, here's Rumbum talking about the Make Orwell Fiction Again shirt that Spambot Fodder was wearing today and getting many compliments over. Did you get that off of what's his name? Why is it? Why am I drawing a blank? Why am I pulling a Biden on this one? I can't remember, but he's saying only the stinking, dirty, brain-dead effing commies wouldn't like that. Wouldn't like that. That's true. They want that. They want Ingsoc. Let's see. Spambot says, what happened to the stream? It's glitching again on Rumble. Is it? Just taking a look at mine. What's the problem? Is it volume or is it the chat that's glitching? I'm just looking on my side here and it seems to be going fine. So I don't know. Rumbum says they live in such an easy time in history with such privilege that if they actually got there, defund the police, they'd be the first ones yelling for their help. Well, yeah, I mean, we've got this story, right? Defund the police activist complains the cops didn't do anything. But I mean, here's the thing: if you didn't want them to do anything in the first place, well, you got what you wanted. Let's see. Did Spambot get the first like? Did Spambot get the first like on the stream? You know what that means? That's double good karma. Double good karma. Let's see. Jesse asks, why is Canada's deficit billions and the US trillions? We have the most natural resources in the world. Well, Canada's national debt now is 1.5 trillion. Right, so Trudeau has doubled it. He's managed to double it since he took over from Harper. Yeah, it's just bad, insane governance is what it is, and just the green obsession, the apocalyptic environmentalist obsession. Totally insane. Let's see. Rumbum says politicians' wallets ain't gonna fill themselves and gotta send money all over the world as well. I think Trudeau just does it for vanity because then he can take a trip wherever he sent millions or $1 billion, however much he sent. He can take a trip over there and then be feted by the people, by the politicians who are probably going to just steal all the money for themselves, regardless of what it was intended for in the first place. I mean, I wonder what happened to those millions of dollars that went over for the gender neutral demining in Ukraine. I wonder where that money went. Let's see. Spambot Father says it was a gift from my son. Don't know where he got it. Luke Rutkowski. Luke Rutkowski? Yeah, We Are Change. That's what I was wondering because he sells a lot of great t-shirts. He was on Timcast. He used to be on Timcast a lot. He's a longtime friend of Tim Pool's. See, apparently the Android app on Android is double posting again. Well, that sucks. Hey, we had a lot of problem with the double posting. I'm sure it'll all get fixed in time. Rosie also likes the sweater, the Make Orwell Fiction Again sweater, as we all do. Let's see. Rumbum says, man, those noodles are looking mighty good. Got 2 more weeks till my cheat day from carnivore diet, though. Uh-oh. It's worth it, though. It's worth it. Let's see. All right. So should we get started? Shall we get started? We're 15 minutes in. Let's just get started. So defund the police. Defund the police. Leftist gremlin activist complains the cops didn't do shit after she's robbed of all she owns in San Francisco. Well, I mean, isn't this what you want? You wanted the police defunded, right? You couldn't find a counselor to deal with it for you. Let's see. A San Francisco resident and vocal defund the police advocate, Darcy Bell, went viral after publicly complaining about police inaction following the theft of her rented U-Haul truck, which contained all her belongings. So I did go to this person's X account. I'm not going to show it to you because it's just gross. They're just all gross. I just thought, I'm not even going to show this. Like, what's the point? You already get the picture. I mean, here you go. You can see, still got the mask on. Right. It's just exactly what you would think. You can guarantee this person voted for policies that would lead to all of her things being stolen. So it's just like, whatever. I mean, if you want to defund the police, this is what you want anyway, right? Like, this is what you wanted. You didn't want the police. Congratulations. They're not doing anything for you. Maybe they know her. Maybe they went, oh, that one? Yeah, maybe let's not bother. She wanted this. She voted for this. She demanded that this be what society turns into. Even if you were to say, well, I just don't want them overfunded. But, you kind of got to pick the right time for that. May not be the right time in San Francisco right now to not want the police overfunded. Perhaps. I don't know. Anyway, I honestly have no pity whatsoever. And again, after looking at the X feed, I'm just like, this person's gross. And yeah, no pity. Bell, who goes by the name Jerky Cousteau, Jerky Cousteau, I don't know, on X, initially posted a plea for help after the theft, writing, quote, if you see a 26-foot U-Haul truck with the Arizona plate, blah, 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 would you let me know because it had everything, it had like everything. Would you let me know because it had like everything I own on it? The post garnered attention, with many mocking her due to her past of anti-police posts. My response to this would be, don't care, you deserve it. After filing a police report, Bell immediately criticized law enforcement for not finding her stolen belongings. In comments made to the New York Post, Bell said, quote, I haven't found my shit. The cops didn't do shit. U-Haul made me file a fucking police report. Quote, there's cameras all over this city. They haven't done. Yeah, I just want my stuff back. Well, I don't know. You voted to not get your stuff back. Right? Like she's not a Republican, obviously. You voted to get your stuff. You voted to lose all your stuff, and now you did. Critics quickly seized on the apparent irony of her situation, pointing out her history of defund the police rhetoric. Bell, whose bio on X reads, will respond to all bad faith arguments with ad hominem attacks. Responded to the backlash by insisting she had not personally called the police. She also doubled down on her defund the police efforts, sharing more posts that promote police abolition. But then why write that the police haven't done anything? Again, did you hire a counselor to look for the truck? Bell also broadly criticized the accounts that mocked her online and accused her of hypocrisy, saying, quote, look at these good Christian victim advocates celebrating my kids losing their belongings at Christmas. Yeah, but actions do have consequences, right? Like, here's the thing. You're advocating for everybody's children losing their belongings at Christmas. By the things you advocate for, the things that you vote for. There you go. U-Haul's customer support account urged her to cooperate with authorities, saying, quote, please be sure to contact us back. Please be sure to contact us back to provide the police report to the equipment recovery department. So I do feel sorry for the kids. I don't, more at who their mother is than losing the presents, because that's going to be more damaging to them long term than losing the presents at Christmas. So there you go. I mean, this is what you kind of see in this is the cult behavior, right? Like, so at no point can they ever admit they were wrong about anything, right? It's just doubling down, and she's talking about, she just attacks ad hominem attacks. She just attacks. She can't possibly be wrong about anything, even when it's just demonstrably true, when it's been demonstrated that you're wrong. They still can't. It's still just this fanatical tirade, like a child. Like you see these comments, and it's like a child, right? It's just full of swearing. I haven't found my shit. The cops didn't do shit. U-Haul made me file an effing police report. There's cameras all over the city. They haven't done shit. I just want my stuff back. It's all just like the rantings of a child, right? That's what it always comes down to. It's a cult of children, of psychological children. Let's see. What are you guys saying? I'm sure you guys have something to say about this. Let's see. Rosie says, I have made molasses cookies tonight. Ooh, everyone who hits like will have a cookie faxed to them. Good karma and a faxed cookie. Best stream ever. Yeah, you better get that fax machine roaring for those cookies. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Izzy. Hey, Izzy, how you doing? Izzy says, faxed cookies. I get mine from my web browser. Let's see. Rosie says, outrage is their MO. Outrage at funding police, outrage at life, outrage at being victimized. Yeah. And outrage at not being victimized. Just everything. Let's see. Let's see. Let's keep going. Hold on. A bit more chat here. Let's see. Jesse says, Holly says BLM will destroy innocent people's property if the jury doesn't convict Daniel Penny. Need police now. Well, we'll see. It seems like they're not letting loose the Democrat Party paramilitary yet. They seem to be controlling them at this point. Maybe they're waiting for something else. Maybe when it gets to like inauguration day, it'll just be too many. It'll be out of control. But it seems like they're trying to rein in their little paramilitary from the summer of love, you know. But we'll see. As he says, yeah, I'd be moving out of blue cities. Yeah, if you're still living in San Francisco and you're not totally delusional, what are you doing? I mean, I guess some people just can't. There's family things, kids and stuff. Like some people just can't. But I guarantee. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of people there that do want to get the hell out. Let's see. Rumbum says, I wouldn't be shocked if all she's trying to do is pull an insurance scam by having the truck taken herself. That's the kind of people there. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly. Let's see. Izzy says, yeah, they'll burn their own house down with pets inside. Rosie says, exactly. Could be grifting. Wouldn't be very surprised, actually. Let's see. Rosie says, summer of love, such a good term. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. Bit of rant juice first. Rant juice. All right, actually, let's go back to here and watch this first. So, from the post millennial here, Biden is talking about how Biden is saying just today, U.S. forces conducted a dozen precision airstrikes within Syria, targeting ISIS camps and ISIS operatives. The whole country is ISIS at this point. But okay, let's take a look.
We will help ensure stability in eastern Syria, protecting our personnel against any threats, and remain our mission against ISIS will be maintained, including the security of detention facilities where ISIS fighters are being held as prisoners. We're clear-eyed about the fact that ISIS will try to take advantage of any vacuum to reestablish its capabilities and to create a safe haven. We will not let that happen. In fact, just today, U.S. forces conducted a dozen of precision airstrikes within Syria, targeting ISIS camps and ISIS operatives. We will help.
So they're attacking the jihadists that they don't support, but not attacking the jihadists that they do support. I don't know. This is just all seems insane to me at this point. I mean, why be involved at this point? It just seems crazy. I mean, I don't understand the point here. I don't know. Maybe it's got something to do with some pipeline or something. I don't know, going through Saudi Arabia, through Syria. I don't know. Maybe something like that. But you've just got a bunch of jihadi groups there. Let's take a look here. U.S. launches dozens of precision airstrikes in Syria. Just everybody, the rebels are jihadis as well. Like just everybody is. It's just that's who's all of the groups there. All of the groups there are just they're all the same thing. But let's get to this first. We'll get to that in a second. We'll go through that in a second. But first, according to a CENTCOM statement, the operation involved precision strikes on over 75 targets, including multiple Air Force assets, including B-52 bombers, F-15 fighter jets, and A-10 aircraft. The U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, announced on Sunday that it has conducted a series of airstrikes in central Syria, targeting ISIS camps and operatives as part of an ongoing effort to combat the terrorist organization. Quote, the strikes against the ISIS leaders, operatives, and camps were conducted as part of the ongoing mission to disrupt, degrade, and defeat ISIS in order to prevent the terrorist group. They're all terrorist groups there, all of them. But in any case, in order to prevent the terrorist group from conducting external operations and to ensure that ISIS does not seek to take advantage of the current situation to reconstitute in central Syria. Okay. So all right. The largest group of rebels currently in control in Syria is Hayat Tahrir al-Sham HTS. So HTS has spearheaded recent rebel offensives, capturing major cities like Aleppo, Hama, and advancing toward Damascus. It originated as an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda? Al-Qaeda, also known initially as Jabhat al-Nusra, but officially distanced itself from Al-Qaeda in 2016. Despite this rebranding, HTS is still considered a jihadist group by many international entities, including the United States, Russia, and Turkey, where it is designated as a terrorist organization. So, I mean, it's an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. Who's this guy? Who's the leader of this? Does it say in here? Hold on. Its leadership included Abu Mohammed al-Jolani, who has attempted to moderate the group's image, focusing on local governance in Idlib while maintaining a strict Islamist ideology. The composition of HTS includes both Syrian fighters and foreign militants, with an emphasis on Salafi jihadist ideology. Let's see, what have we got here? Syrian HTS jihadist leader al-Jolani was Baghdadi's deputy in Iraq. Who was Baghdadi? Here he is, Abu Bakr Baghdadi, ISIL or ISIS leader, who Biden is just bombing right now. So, but not the guy who was his deputy in Iraq. So it all just feels like some sort of game, right? You pick the jihadists you don't like, the jihadists you do like. They're all the same thing anyway. But I guess it's the ones you think you can control for things like, I don't know, getting like a pipeline through or something. I don't know. I don't know. What do I know? Although, I mean, I think it seems like they should have learned through the whole Taliban thing, the whole Afghanistan. They kind of figured, well, we can arm these guys, these jihadists, and then they'll be our friends forever. And it doesn't really work out that way. They tend to be fairly unpredictable, but predictable in the sense that they're going to hate you. They hate you while you're helping them, and they're going to hate you after you're finished helping them and they get what they want. So, I don't know. It all just seems like lunacy to me, to be honest. CENTCOM emphasized that initial assessments indicate no civilian casualties resulted from the strikes. Are they sure about that? General Michael Eric Kurilla, commander of CENTCOM, reinforced the U.S. commitment to preventing ISIS from regaining a foothold in Syria. Newsflash, they've taken over Syria. They just got a different name. That's it. They're all the same thing. All of these groups are the same thing. There should be no doubt. We will not allow ISIS to reconstitute and take advantage of the current situation in Syria. So, softball CNN interview for the guy, for their leader, for the offshoot of Al Qaeda group. So, I mean, I guess you can see something here, right? For some reason, CNN's giving a nice softball interview to the guy whose jihadist Islamic extremist group just took over Syria. This was before this happened. So yeah. So he said in this too, he says the Islamic government for Syria minorities will be protected, he says. Why would anybody believe that? The rebels learned to be a good and coordinated army. He grew out of his ISIS days and is wise now. Let's see. All right. So what do you guys think? Does any of this seem sane in the slightest bit? Why not just get out? Just not be involved in the giant mess, which I don't know. There could possibly be unintended consequences for the planners of this, because obviously, hold on a sec. Obviously, the guy getting the softball CNN interview is backed by the U.S., but backed by the administration, right? It often turns out, it seems, when you mess with these people, that there's unintended consequences. Totally predictable to sane people, but apparently the planners that just can't see that far ahead for some reason. I don't know. All right. Let's see what you guys have to say. I want to see what you guys have to say. Let's see. Jesse says this is why we have all the debt. If they'd stop starting the wars, we wouldn't have to end them. Izzy says military intelligence is an oxymoron. Izzy says the war machine needs fresh victims. Yeah, is it really necessary to go launch a bunch of missiles into the desert of a far-flung country that's been taken over by jihadists? I don't know. Why do they like those jihadists more than they like the other jihadists? It all just seems like insanity to me. Here is Pierre Poilievre. He's the future Canadian Prime Minister, leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. So let's hear what he has to say here. Poilievre is asked what Canada should do to help restore stability in Syria now that the Assad regime has toppled. So there's a lot in here. There's maybe something some people won't like, but on the issue of Syria here, this is what I like to hear.
Do you have any thoughts on the fall of the Assad regime in Syria and anything that Canada could or should do to help restore stability to the region?
Well, first of all, Assad was a puppet for the tyrants of Tehran. He has carried out genocides against the Sunni people in his own country. And now he appears to have been toppled. We don't know who will replace him, but I don't think we should get involved in that mess. It's not our fight. We should stand with our allies, including Israel, against the terrorists. We should focus on protecting our own country. Because after 9 years of Trudeau, we've never been so vulnerable and so at risk. He lost control of our borders, lost control of our spending, lost control of our security, lost control of crime. He's allowed terrorists to come into our country, even after they've been videotaped, mutilating human beings in other parts of the country, in other parts of the world. And what we need now is a strong leader who will put Canada first. My only concern is Canada. We need, for a change, a prime minister who will put this country and its people first. And that's what I will do. Thank you.
It shows you that, Western politicians are learning from Trump. Right. I like how blunt he is. Here, let's listen to this.
And now he appears to have been toppled. We don't know who will replace him, but I don't think we should get involved in that mess.
It's there, nice and simple. I don't think we should get involved in that mess, and neither do I. And the start of this question here.
Do you have any thoughts on the fall of the Assad regime in Syria and anything that Canada could or should do to help restore stability to the region?
Canada can do nothing. Canada can do absolutely. Canada can't control its own immigration system right now. It can't control its own borders right now. Canada can do nothing. That's just a nonsense question, right? And it's also insane. Why would we want to do insane things, right? Go into a hornet's nest of jihadis to help pick our favorite jihadi group, our favorite extremist group. Why would we do that? How would that make any sense?
Against the terrorists, we should focus on protecting our own country. Because after 9 years of Trudeau, we've never
focus on protecting our own country. That's a great idea.
Been so vulnerable and so at risk. He lost control of our borders, lost control of our spending, lost control of our security, lost control of crime. He's allowed terrorists to come into our country, even after they've been videotaped, mutilating human beings in other parts of the country, in other parts of the world. And what we need now is a strong leader who will put Canada first. My only concern is Canada. We need, for a change, a prime minister who will put this country and its people first. And that's what I will do. Thank you.
And this is what Trump wants to hear with the tariff rhetoric. This is the kind of stuff that he wants to hear. This is the sort of statement that he wants to hear, because Canada being responsible is good for Canada. It makes Canada a stronger country, but it also makes us a better neighbor to the United States for obvious reasons. So it's inevitable he's going to get in at this point. It looks outside of some sort of catastrophe for Canada, some sort of catastrophic event for Canada. He's going to get in. And by catastrophic event, I mean somehow Trudeau wins a minority government in the next election. But I've got a bunch of stuff that's going to back up some of the stuff that he said there that's going to be of interest to you. But first, I think we should go to, in fact, hold on a second. Got anything underneath here? Okay, we already covered that. So next. But let's go to the chat quickly. What are you guys saying? Jesse's saying unintended consequences. Yeah. As I've said many times on this channel, trademark, history is the history of unintended consequences. Just got to wait long enough. The only thing you can really do is try to do the best thing in your lifetime, maybe up to 100 years or something. And then, then it becomes that generation's obligation to do their best. But history is the history of unintended consequences, especially when you decide to pick favorites amongst groups of extremists. Like, you really think you're going to control it? Don't we have enough experience with that already? But in any case, let's see. Izzy says they have toys to test. Well, I think that's a great point, right? Field testing them. Also, they cost a lot of money. It's part of the economy, right? That's what they say. Let's see. Let's see. Izzy says, you get a missile and you get a missile. And you. Maybe they get Oprah to press the button to launch the missiles. Let's see. Rosie says, exactly. Canada should put Canada first. Every country should have borders and laws and culture and patriotism. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Let's see. Let's see. Jesse says, Holly says they are too busy arresting people who donated to the truckers. They can't do anything in a foreign country until they fix themselves. Yeah, we need to put Canada first at this point. And no sending money over for gender neutral demining at this point, or for, I don't know, non-binary gender teachers in third world countries or something. So Trudeau, it turns out Trudeau is less popular than Trump is right now in Canada, according to the latest Abacus data poll. Trump minus 38, or sorry, Trudeau is only 23% positive, underwater 38 points. Trump 26% positive, only under at 30 points compared to Trudeau's 38. And this is remarkable considering the tidal wave, the tsunami of propaganda in the Canadian corporate media against Trump. It's just nonstop. There's no Fox News in Canada. They just are having at it, right? It's just them against independent media. And it's a tidal wave, right? Canadians are for obvious reasons, very interested in what's happening in the United States, as people across the world are, of course, right? It's like, in the first century, people would have been interested if they, people would have been interested in what was happening in Rome. But it's a tidal wave, a tsunami of just nonstop negative. Every expert they have on is somebody, or every journalist, that they have on from the States, from the Washington Post or the New York Times. It's always negative. Everything's negative. So it's by design, right? And then in this kind of circle jerk with the Canadian media and leftist politicians here and the Liberal government, it's a way to affect Canadian politics, or a way to kind of guide a narrative in Canada away from conservatism. Because then they absolutely demonize. Both Trudeau, by the way, has demonized Trump and MAGA a lot. He's called Pierre Poilievre Maple MAGA. Why is he doing that? Right. Well, he subsidizes the Canadian media. Massive money, $1.4 billion to the CBC, for instance. They say what he wants. So they're all super left-wing, like corporate media is in every Western country. They demonize Trump. This serves Trudeau because then he can then accuse the Canadian Conservative Party and Pierre Poilievre of being Maple MAGA. Supposed to scare everybody. Maple MAGA. Oh, Maple MAGA. Oh, so scary. It's just this little circle jerk. It's totally corrupt and it's awful. So it's amazing that Trump is more popular than Trudeau at this point, considering just the level of propaganda that Canadians receive. It's really outrageous. That's why I started this channel, for Canadians, to give Canadians a different opinion, a little bit of an antidote to the constant propaganda, because I could see that it was hurting Canadian politics. It was an obvious attempt to narrative control and to manipulate Canadians into voting for garbage. And, hey, Trudeau got elected 3 times. So it's not been totally ineffective. But it's a method they use, a very sneaky method they use to smear Canadian conservatives by painting Trump as history's greatest monster. Jesse, $10. What the hell? Hold on, you get the donation horn. What a great human being Jesse is. What a great human. Maybe the best person that's ever lived. I will go ahead and say that right now. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it's pretty close. Top 3, I'm saying. Thank you very much. A donation horn again. My greed thanks you, Jesse. Says, missed the chat Friday due to work. Listen to it later. Well, thanks. That's awesome. And yeah, the world makes sense to me again. Let's see. Okay, so back to the story, though. So Trudeau is less popular than Trump is right now in Canada. Let's take a look. Impression of Justin Trudeau, negative, 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 negative. 61% in Canada, negative. That's the only sane thing about the Trudeau regime. Impression of Donald Trump. See, the negative's going down. The negative is going down as more and more Canadians are finding that line where they realize that the poison that they've been fed is poison. The poison they've been fed in the media is poison, starting to wake up a little bit. You can see positive is still low, but it's going up. I think that will continue to go up, especially as the United States goes into its economy goes into overdrive. And as Trump does sane things with foreign policy, and the world that was set on fire by Biden starts to calm down, but we'll see. So, as you can see here, the Conservatives have a massive lead, 21-point lead, according to 338. There's, different polls that have it a bit more. They have the Liberals a little bit less. But as you can see here, the Liberals are, in terms of seat projections, the Conservatives right now, and it's been like this for a while, there seems to be no way they cannot get a majority, which means they won't have to deal with any of the far leftist dingbats in the country. They can just get their legislation through, sane legislation, at least one would hope. Liberals right now, 47 seats projected, and they're only 3 points up on the NDP. NDP is the Union Party of Canada, but really what they've become is just they're competing with the Liberals to be the most far left woke lunatic party in Canada. So you can see now you have the Bloc Québécois projected 45 seats right now. That means that they could take over second place from the Liberals. That would be a major humiliation. A major humiliation for Trudeau and for the Liberal Party. Because the Bloc Québécois only operates in Quebec. They're only interested in Quebec. They don't care about any other provinces or territories. They're only interested in themselves. That would be a major humiliation. But they could even drop far. I mean, they're not many points ahead of the NDP. They could drop from 3rd to 4th place, which would be an utter and total disaster. I really would be so thrilled. I would be so thrilled just imagining Justin Trudeau waking up the morning after the election and seeing the headline, historic loss. Just total abject humiliation. That would be wonderful. I would feel a thrill after everything the man's done to the country. It looks very much like he's not going to resign. He's going to hang in there. He's going to hang in there and hope for intervention by the gods or something. I don't know. His intervention from, I don't know, the god of the WEF, whatever that is. We shall see. All right. So there you have it. That it's for Trudeau to be less popular than Trump in Canada right now, considering it's not just the avalanche of negative press of just poison. There's just narrative control that we get from the corporate press here regarding Trump. It's the fact that the Canadian media is clearly prefers Trudeau to Poilievre. Clearly does. I mean, they are reporting, even though they're kind of, they kind of soft pedal the constant scandals disasters of the Trudeau government, but they, obviously they have a preference. So when you consider that as well, it's astonishing. It's astonishing that Trudeau would be less popular than Trump in Canada. And even though Trump's positive is still ridiculously low, if Canadians got real news, real objective news, there's no way it would be down at 26% positive. But at least it's a kind of a glimpse of sanity. I believe that positive is going to go up as well. Right? Canadians have been told it's the apocalypse if Trump gets elected. When it's not the apocalypse, a lot of people are going to wake up. All right. Let's move on. Before we hit this one, I just got to take just a quick break, you guys. Let's put on a cooking show for a minute. I'll be right back in about 2 minutes, you guys. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, let's cut out the YouTube part of the stream. So we start out on Rumble and YouTube at the same time, every time we go live. And then we cut the YouTube short, usually about an hour in, just because if I let it go the whole stream, I just end up being inundated with all these problems after the stream of like ridiculous copyright bullshit and stuff. And there's like 800 of them. And it's not really worth the trouble. And plus there's always the risk that I'll say something that'll cause trouble and I'll get a strike on my channel or something, or demonetized or something. So it's really not worth it. So just try and do the first hour around we're a little under that tonight, but I would encourage anybody watching on YouTube right now, jump over to Rumble. We're going to continue there for probably at least another hour and a half, something like that. Maybe 2 hours, maybe longer. Who knows? So I'd encourage you to join us over there. Otherwise, we'll see you on, what is it tonight? Sunday? Tuesday, 6 o'clock Pacific time. Anyway, see you later.